the oven. It's Cinema Bums. I'm Wade.
And I'm Emmett.
Cinema Bums is a podcast where we watch through every single movie in popular film franchises, one each week, to try and track how the storytelling changes over time. Today we are beginning our new miniseries, The House Bummy, covering every film written by Karen McCullough and Kirsten Smith. We will fully spoil today's film, but we will not spoil any future entries in the series. Emmett, how are you doing?
Feeling wonderful. Excited to be embarking on this new adventure today. How about you? How are you feeling?
Also excited to start something new. I feel like because Denny and Scream overlapped, it kind of felt like one series that lasted 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm excited to be like totally starting something new. And very excited because today we're honored to have a special guest. She's an actress, singer, improv comedian, the queen of New York City, and she's here to help us ring in Scorpio season. Please welcome Lauren Renner.
Thank you. Thank you. So thrilled to be here. Glad I could pencil it in for you guys. Queen of New York is a tough job, but someone has to do it. So, yeah.
Well, we think you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much.
Before we start talking about this movie, I also want to say happy 1 year anniversary of Cinema Bums.
Wow.
So we're recording on the anniversary of Cinema Bums?
No. This is coming out on the anniversary week.
Oh.
The 17th is our anniversary.
Wow.
Congratulations. What an accomplishment.
What a time.
Sticking with something for a year is a big deal. So congratulations.
to us, maybe more than people may even realize.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is our 54th film and our 62nd episode.
Whoa. Wow. No slackers here.
That's a lot for a year. That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, it is. If you've listened to all 62 episodes of the show, I'd like to say thanks for giving birth to us, Mom.
Yeah, right. For real. Oh, wow. That many. You know, honestly, we can cut this. I stopped listening after Modesta and Cuba's episode. I was like, it's never going to get any better than that. So why should I even listen? But I do still enjoy making them.
I'm not sure most of your listeners can count that high.
Wow.
Probably
62.
not.
When's the last time you sat down and counted to 62?
Just in my head, just counted from 1 to
Exactly.
62.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I get really muddled in the 30s through the 50s.
Just kind of blurs together.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Oh, congratulations, Wade. Yeah, that's what this is about. Congratulations.
Well, yes. Okay, today, start of a new series, The House Bummy. We're talking about all the films written by a team of writers, 2 women, Karen McCullough and Kirsten Smith. Starting today with 10 Things I Hate About You, and continuing in order through Legally Blonde, Ella Enchanted, She's the Man, The House Bunny, and The Ugly Truth. Lauren, which of those have you seen, and what is your history with this movie, 10 Things I Hate About You?
Oh my God. I honestly think that I've seen all of those.
Okay.
It's just been a long time for some, but I do think I've seen them all. But 10 Things I Hate About You is definitely the favorite out of those ones. You know, Heath Ledger, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. These are things I enjoy. So, yeah, no, I mean, I loved it since I was like, you know, I guess like middle school, whenever you get into the feels. Yeah, so when you asked me to do this, I was on board. Yeah, this is my favorite out of the ones you listed. No offense to Legally Blonde. You're great. But yeah.
Emmett, what about you? What's your history with McCullough and Smith?
I have seen this one before a couple of times. I've seen Legally Blonde once at the beginning of this past summer, and I may have seen Ella Enchanted when I was a kid. This is my favorite one also of the ones that I've seen.
Did you watch this growing up?
I did not watch this growing up. I saw it for the first time when I lived in Seattle. It's a famous Seattle movie. And
that's right.
so somebody was like, hey, you like Shakespeare and are living in Seattle. We need to watch Taming of the Shrew done with Heath Ledger. And that's when they had me, honestly.
I love that they referred to it as the Taming of the Shrew done with Heath Ledger. Like it's that close.
that may be an interpretation I later put on it.
Oh.
But
How accurate is the Seattle representation, would you say?
so damn inaccurate. They filmed this on the one sunny day a year. I heard that it took them 4 years to film this movie because they were shooting in between sunny days to make it look like Seattle is a sunny paradise like unto LA.
I did not even think about the fact that it rains that did not cross my mind. Was I aware that it was taking place in Seattle? Yes. Did I think about the fact that it was a completely dry climate? No, not once. Wow.
It's astounding.
It's shot in Tacoma, outside of Seattle, but it's all shot at a real high school.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Stadium High School. There's no sets they built for the movie. There's nothing shot on a soundstage. It's all at a real school, and they just really shot it in the Seattle area.
Wow.
Wait, what was your first experience with this film?
My first experience with this film was actually earlier this year, January. I watched this with Laura, who insisted on showing it to me, and I really loved it. And it was one that I liked when I saw, and then it stuck in my brain, and I kept thinking about it. The first Scream was kind of like that too. But I saw it recently, and then I watched it for the second time for this podcast. I had seen She's the Man and The House Bunny when they came out, around the time they came out. But those are all, and I have not seen the other three.
You've never seen Legally Blonde?
No.
Whoa, dude.
Gonna be watching it for the first time next week.
Ella Enchanted is good too.
I think I maybe read the book of Ella Enchanted or just saw the trailer a bunch of times. I remember it coming out.
I'm excited for your journey, for the journey you're about to go on.
Excited. Wildly excited. I also know this is not the last. It's the first but not the last Shakespeare outing on this journey too. So that's very exciting.
What else is...
She's the Man is, I believe, based on Twelfth Night.
Yeah.
And The House Bunny is famously based on Timon of Athens.
Today we're talking about 10 Things I Hate About You. The first film directed by Gil Junger, who is primarily a TV director, which may not surprise you. His other films are Black Knight with Martin Lawrence, If Only, and Think Like a Dog, which came out last year.
Think Like a Dog?
Oh.
I think it's a puppy movie.
Oh my god.
This is also the first film written by Karen McCullough and Kirsten Smith. We'll talk more about them later. Adapted from the 1590 comedic play, The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare. We'll talk about that later too. Score by Richard Gibbs, who around the same time also did the music for Dr. Dolittle and Big Mama's House.
Incredible.
Running a blessed 1 hour and 37 minutes. Those Denny days of 2 hours and 41 minutes are behind us.
Yeah.
Released March 31st, 1999 by Buena Vista Pictures, which is the label that Disney used to use for their more adult live-action films. They felt were inappropriate to be released under the Disney label.
Wow.
According to the numbers, which is the source we normally use, there's some discrepancy. But according to the numbers, they said that it was a budget of $13 million, made $60 million. Wow. So financial success, critically liked at the time. Emmett, what would you say happens in this movie to anyone who hasn't seen it?
Okay, so in this movie, we've got two sisters, Bianca and Kat. Kat is she's like a punk rock girl. She's like too cool for school. She's not like other girls, you know? And she just like listens to a lot of punk, and she doesn't drive like a cool car. She drives like a beat up car.
She is like approximately 500 other girls who are in Club Skunk.
Yeah, she is exactly like about 100. Yeah,
that
for
we
sure.
never will ever see.
We'll
public.
never see again.
A women-only club other than Heath Ledger.
I love that Heath Ledger is like, I couldn't be seen at Club Skunk, then goes to Club Skunk and the bartender knows him. So I mean, all right. But whatever. And then Bianca is her more like, I don't know, what would you say, typical cool girl sister, like rich cool girl. She's like going around. She's popular with the boys, and especially these two that we know are young, lovely, semi-protagonists. I guess he's not strong in this movie at all. But old Joey Gordon-Levitt is there as Cameron, who falls instantly for Bianca. Cameron is a sweet guy. We like Cameron. There's also a total tool named Joey something. And we don't like, he's a
Joey
rich kid. Joey sunglasses.
Joey Donner.
Joey Blowout. Joey Jersey Shore transplant. He is there. He's trying also to date Bianca. And their dad has made a rule, Kat and Bianca's dad has made a rule, that Bianca can't date unless Kat does, the older and meaner, more intimidating one. So then Cameron comes up with a genius idea, aided by his wonderful friend, whose name I am blanking on right now, but you know him. He played the elf from Santa Claus.
Michael
the child who was born 40 years old. I mean, the man is incredible.
He is so
film.
good.
I think it would be like hell to be in a scene with him, but I do think he's hilarious in this movie. He is there. He suggests to Cameron that they get somebody to date Kat so that Cameron can date Bianca. And that's going not very well because all the boys are scared to date Kat. And then they're like, oh, we need a backer. We're going to get a rich kid to pay for this. So they get Joey to pay the money while they convince old Heath Ledger's character, whose name is Patrick Verona. Yeah, damn. I mean, come on.
That's just not fair.
Get real. Let's see. He is
Australian.
Well, he's Australian. He's there. There's all these rumors about him. People think he's like some sort of badass. He's like doing the bad boy routine, like lighting stuff on fire and smoking in class. In a particularly epic move. And his like punk rock friend puts the cigarette out in the frog. He's like, what the hell, dude? Why are you smoking in here? Wonderful. So they get this kid and they're like, okay, you should try and date Kat. And he tries, and eventually turns out they're both not like other girls. You know, they're not like other girls in the same way. In fact, like kind of hit it off. They're both outcast. People are scared of them, and they're kind of like aggressive, but they're also all about like that punk rock like thing of like grabbing life by the horns and just like going for it. And like they're all about like not telling each other what to do, and like nobody like do your own thing. And he's like, yeah, do whatever makes you happy, man. And then the way that she knows at the end that he's being like, he's not being honest with her, he's like, come on, go to prom with me. And she says she doesn't want to, and he still is like, yeah, but come on, why won't you do it? Instead, like what he would usually do is just be like, yeah, no, of course not, like do your thing. So then she finds out, she's pissed, obviously. She's like, I can't believe you would do this. And then she writes a poem and says, I hate you, but I don't hate you, I love you. And then you cry because you're obligated to.
You got it.
And there's also the great part where Bianca punches Joey right in the schnoz, and that is really satisfying. Did I do a good job explaining it?
That was perfect. I feel like I just watched it all over again in my mind.
I feel like I just watched Emmett watch it all over again. In the best sort of way. Well, Lauren, 10 things I hate about you, flop or bop?
Bop. Bop and a half. It's really good. I think that it's just like, if you're thinking of it solely as like a romantic comedy, it's so like actually genuinely funny that it works. And like there's only one, couple that you actually care about. It's like it's got all that, the normal rom-com aspect to it, that you genuinely care about the characters, but like actually all of the characters have real funny moments, which is so refreshing. It's not just like a couple side characters say funny things sometimes, but it's like every character. Like the dad, hilarious. The teacher, funny. Like everyone has their moments, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's an outstanding piece of work.
Emmett, flop or bop?
This is a bop. This is such a bop. Just wonderful. To Lauren's point about the teachers, all the teachers in this are hilarious. Every side character is amazingly funny, but all of the main characters too. So quick-witted and like so much good dialogue in this. And not just like good jokes, but good story-driven dialogue that is also funny.
Yeah, I think it's a really good writer's showcase for this series, looking at these two writers. Like, it's such a witty, writerly movie. I would also give it a bop.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Perhaps even a bop and a half.
Maybe.
Damn.
It rocks. It's so good. I think it's like a pitch perfect rom-com. Like, it hits every single beat. But it's also kind of like a very good teen movie in the way that you guys are describing. Like, that there is this wide ensemble cast who we all like. And I think what's different than most of both of those genres is, like you were saying, that the jokes hit and are so consistently funny. And also that it is sort of like has an edge, I think. Like, is very frank about sex in a way that's kind of like beloved family movies on Disney Plus are not.
Right.
Other than this movie.
It's impressive to me that like it was filmed in what you said, 1999, or it came out in 99. For like the jokes to actually hold up and like you not be offended by something when you're watching it. Like, it was just genuinely like good, well written jokes and not just like cheap shots at, stupid stuff. So I think that also is like why it stands the test of time, because it's not just like quick jabs to like certain demographics. It's just like actually funny writing, which is refreshing.
Well, along those lines, that brings us cleanly on to a new segment I've added here.
What?
Which is called Fine Wine, where I just want to ask, like, these movies, these writers were definitely at, like, the cutting edge of, like, progressive media at the time that they were writing. And now it's 20 years later, so, like, is there anything in this movie that we feel has aged really well, or anything that is, like, problematic now in ways that it maybe wasn't seen as then?
I feel like the white Rastas, I think it's genius, and I think that the jokes about them in this movie are hilarious, and I think all still work. I just don't think they would be in this movie if it was made today.
Yeah, maybe not.
But I don't think that would be necessarily the right choice. I don't think this movie would be better for not having them.
I think they work because you have Mr. Morgan.
Yeah, because and like
Specifically.
that whole scene where he's like, I don't know, about your upper middle class, your like terrible life thing, and then the white Rastas are like, yeah, man, and he's like, don't even get me started.
Right.
It's just so much fun.
Right. Well, it's like it's the immediate shutdown of the. It's like they don't just continue that joke on. They don't keep being like, oh, look, it's the white Rastas. It's like, we see it, we get it, we know those people. And like, even I feel like 2021, there's a different, maybe it's not Rastas necessarily, but it's like, there's,
right, yeah,
we know those people, and it's just like it's immediately shut down, and so it's funny, but it's not like they keep bringing up and telling the same joke over and over. So I think that's what makes it work. I don't know. I feel like the whole movie has aged pretty well, all things considered.
I agree. I think it's aged remarkably well. I think her flashing the teacher is the thing you couldn't do in a movie today.
Right.
At least, like, as a joke without any repercussions in the story.
Sure.
You probably couldn't have a 17-year-old flash a teacher. That's a whole, like, prestige Hulu TV show. If you're trying to make something about that today.
Right.
It turns into a drama immediately.
Courtroom drama.
Be called something like The Reveal.
The Flash.
Yeah, it would be called The Flash.
The Flash.
Let me think. Oh, the line where they say, like, we're your guys, but not in a prison movie sort of way. That's one that I look askance at today. But again, like, very tame compared to probably every other comedy released in 1999.
Right.
The scene where the kid gets the dick drawn on his face, still funny. Still holds up. And it gets funnier over the course of the scene. It gets funnier and funnier that it's just still there.
I also love that it's like, you know, there's like 3 different penises that you see throughout the course of that scene because they've had to redraw it on probably throughout filming it. And it's like a different shape every time the camera comes back to it. That's a little Easter egg for you.
I read a retrospective that actor wrote, I think after Heath Ledger passed away, about making this movie. And he was like, I am 40 years old, and every day of my life, someone walks up to me and says, I have a dick on my face, don't I?
Oh my God.
To be fair, that man has been 40 years old his entire life. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. I feel like the chemistry between Heath and Julia is incredible. And is like the other thing that makes this movie work so well today still.
It just feels real. I think Heath Ledger just has a way of, I don't know, something about his personality, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm all smitten. He's just wonderful. And I think she's someone we don't see enough of, like, just generally, and especially, like, she's just a wonderful scene partner. And I think that they deserve to do millions of more movies together. But alas.
The chemistry is like, it's palpable, right? It's just like, yeah, you believe it. You're 100% there for it. Especially, like, I love the paintball scene. That is like one of my favorites.
I literally, like, cannot think of a worse possible date that I would rather go on. Like, that sounds like my personal hell, but so happy for them. Watching it, like, tearing up, like, that is love. Yeah. Though it's the last thing I ever want to do. But they make it work. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, this movie achieves the impossible in making paintball look fun.
It's just not. It hurts. It's messy. You're sweaty. Like, nothing is fun.
Yeah, it also makes you, like... Never mind, I was going to say something shady about her hairstyle at the end, but...
You know what? Listen, I've got to say, I don't care. I don't care what Emmett or Lauren or BuzzFeed has to say about her prom hairdo.
Oh my God. So bad.
That's what I'm saying. This movie does the impossible and makes me like that choice for her because of like how much I love her and love him and like want them to be right for them.
I mean, I just think of who her character is as a person and like think about her sitting in front of the mirror getting ready for prom and she's like, hair gel, I guess, and just like slaps it and combs it back. Like, you know, she hasn't thought this through. This is just what it is, you know.
Clearly.
But wait, I'm glad that you liked it. I'm sure Heath Ledger thought it was gorgeous too. So
I just like her a lot in general. I feel like it is really both of them that I am like fully bought into in this movie. And I think because he is a bigger star and he kind of has like maybe the flashier part, the attention goes to him. But I think it's like definitely the stuff she's doing too.
Oh yeah. because it's so easily could have just been like, she's a bitch, and that could have been it. But like, I think she just did a really great job of like, yes, she's a bitch. We're all bitches, right? But there was so much like nuance, and you still like her, and you can tell like behind her eyes there's a reason, you know, that she's like this, which of course we don't find out until the end when she's talking to her sister about, what's his name, Joey?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you know, that she's not evil. She's so human and like relatable. She deserves love just like everybody else. So I agree with you 100%.
I also really like the relationship between Heath Ledger and Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this. I think there's like this really sweet thing where at first Cameron is really scared of Patrick and is like very intimidated to come and talk to him. But by the end of it, Patrick is like, gives him that sweet speech at the end where he's like, is she like, about Bianca, is like, is she worth all this? Like, what did you do all of this for if if you didn't want to be with her? And he was like, you're twice the man that Joey is. And like getting that like older brotherly sort of go out and get the girl is like super sweet. And I love that moment and love all the little moments between them over the course of this film.
And I will die on the hill that they have the same exact face. I think that there's
compelling.
A secret somewhere in the genealogy. They're related, because
interesting.
Just Google it when this is over. Do a little do. Google. They look the same. It's the eyes.
I would have guessed watching this that Heath Ledger was about 24 and Joseph Gordon-Levitt was about 14 years old when they filmed this. But I looked it up, and Julia Stiles and Joseph Gordon-Levitt were both 17, and Heath Ledger was 19 when they filmed it.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So they're like pretty age accurate.
Wow.
Oh, and get this, Gabrielle Union was 28.
Oh my god. Are you kidding?
I swear. Gabrielle Union is older than I am now and looks like she's 15 years old in this movie.
That's incredible.
Oh my, how old is Gabrielle Union now?
22 years older than that, so 50.
Let me look it up. She's 49.
Oh my god. I did not realize Heath Ledger was that young during this either.
It's his first American on-screen thing in any capacity.
Wow.
He had done like a little bit of stuff in Australia, but this is like the beginning of his career.
Holy crap. And they all did that well in that movie, and they were literally just teenagers.
That is also, it's crazy to imagine, like, if there was a film of me when I was 17, it would not be this
I would
good.
never be able to watch it.
I think Julia Stiles has said that. She's like, it's the movie I've made that people love the most, but it's really hard for me to watch it because I was so young.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure.
I mean, that makes sense, but it's like, she did a good job.
Yeah.
A really good job, especially for a 17-year-old. I can't believe Joseph Gordon-Levitt was 17, though, because he does not look like a 17-year-old.
A little baby face. And
he's so cute in this movie. He so nails the dreamy stare, which he has to do a bunch.
Yeah.
And when he has the I burn, I pine, I perish, like he pulls it off.
And that is a thankless role in the original play. That's a thankless role. And in this movie, it isn't necessarily like the best bit of all time. Of like the lead four, it's probably like the least fun to play.
Right.
It's the most one note. It changes the least of any of them.
Wow, he's just a lover boy.
What about Bianca? We haven't really talked about her at all.
She's not one that I really think about. Like, I don't really care necessarily about her throughout the course of the movie, personally. But she definitely has, like, her redeeming moments, like, you know, when she punches Joey and when she, you know, finally is, like, realizing who her sister is and all of that stuff. I think that she definitely has, like, those redeeming moments. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't care about her. I wish I cared more, maybe. Maybe that's not the point. Maybe I'm not supposed to. But she did okay. I thought the actress was cute.
I like the scenes with her and Cameron a lot. I think
Yeah.
I think she plays those really well. I think the stuff with where she's across from Julia Stiles, she's a little outclassed in like the more emotional scenes and is like kind of left in the lurch a little. But that's also kind of like how the characters are maybe a little too. She's like repressing her feeling over it, and and Kat is kind of like wallowing in her feeling over it. So I don't know.
I think her character maybe feels a little bit like inconsistent to me because it's like the whole like first half of the movie she's just, you know, shallow,
Right.
just wants to like get with Joey, wants to start dating, whatever, like because she just doesn't even interact with him prior to like that party. She's like, I know I want to be his girlfriend, but like doesn't even talk to him. Then goes to this party and he's like showing her his modeling photos and she's like, oh my god, this is disgusting. I'm like, girl, we knew this the whole time. Where were you?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she just does a 180. She's like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is my bae and I'm not shallow anymore. And it's just like, okay, random, but good for you. That's kind of how I felt.
I think it's a little weird that she is treated as like the super hot one that everyone likes when she really is more sort of like matching Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like young, cute energy.
Yeah.
Which is why I agree. I think their scenes together, especially the one where like she asks him in French, when are you going to ask me out? And he doesn't know what it means.
Right.
That's her best moment to me in the movie.
Yeah. If this were my high school, everyone and their mother would be pining after Julia Stiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
obviously.
is the moment. She is the it girl. You're afraid of her? Exactly. You know?
Yeah. Emmett, you mentioned the original play.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds to me like the return of the Shakespeare Corner.
Bum, bum, bum.
Our most popular segment ever, back from the Lion King days.
Oh my god.
How does this compare to the original that came out 400 years before it? Taming of the Shrew, beloved by all. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Yeah, an absolutely spotless classic. Taming of the Shrew. Zero wrong with it whatsoever. No, so Taming of the Shrew, the original, is a play about which much ink has been spilled.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful.
I feel like I'm reading the ardent introduction preface here to the play.
Yeah, I might be right now, just like out of my memory. So the thing about Taming of the Shrew is it's a play, much like this movie, about a father with two daughters. One who is very beautiful and lovely and who everybody wants to marry, and another one who is totally awful to everyone and everyone hates. Her name is Kat, and she is also referred to as a shrew, which is mean. A mean way of saying a not nice lady. Similarly, in that film, Shakespeare had his protagonist decide to also hire Petruchio to woo Katerina or Kate or Kat. It's all very similar, except that there's a lot of abuse involved when Petruchio is doing the actual wooing. It involves starving her and keeping her in a house locked up to like tame her and bend her to his will, supposedly. But then there's also a lot of controversy because some people think that maybe that was meant ironically, and that at the end of the play, what we were supposed to take away is that Petruchio and Kate have banded together to like fleece these other people because there's a huge money bet involved, which is another thing that this movie shares in common, is like a money bet being part of what is going on. It differs in how that is involved mechanically, but that is like a theme that runs through both of them. There's some reason to believe that Petruchio and Kate winning the gold at the end by Kate being the most obedient wife is their revenge on everybody. But as it is written, fairly problematic text, often not produced without some sort of weird thing nowadays to like make it okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this as an adaptation does a lot better job than a lot of plays that try to do the plain, like an original text version, but like shape it with some sort of directorial idea that makes it better. I feel like this full rewrite and just like taking some of the basic premises, de-problematize them or something is much better.
Mm-hmm.
Or like it just works more cleanly, I feel like. Okay, this is just to get way off on this. But I think what's interesting and good and worth doing about the problematic Shakespeare comedies is like the problems and like the weird stuff that people don't like want to get into. And it's not like to make that stuff funny or to make it like okay, but it is to like explore it and be like, why was this the thing? I don't think that's necessarily good for a teen movie. So I think that this is a good like adaptation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I also don't know that. Yeah, Taming the Shrew has as much to work with. The ones that I'm thinking of are like All's Well That Ends Well or like Measure for Measure, that are like truly messed up, like even in premise. But like what they're about is kind of the messed upness. But maybe Taming of the Shrew is also like that. Interesting. I think we should all be getting into these plays more and like not just listening to what the synopsis of them is and being like, yes, it's about abuse, or like, yes, it's about like this one thing or this other thing, just because some critics have said that it was about that. Because I think when you read the plays, it's often about like a lot more than whatever any one person said it was about. So that's my short way of saying, I don't know. You should go read it. Form your own opinions.
I read it for the first time a couple of years ago. I'd always avoided it because of its reputation, as you said, Emmett. And for the most part, I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. And then you get to that ending, like literally like the action stops. Like basically what this movie goes through is through like the second to last scene of the play. And then there's this whole long like 30-minute last scene that is all the husbands being like, let's see whose wife will get them a drink the fastest. And then you're like, okay, I get it. I get what's so wrong about this.
It's like also so grotesque as to be like, don't you think that that he has to know that it's like, that's also a joke. That like, it's a joke about those guys.
Well, that's the thing I think that's interesting, is that it obviously is a sexist play. But the female characters are like so much better written and have so much more agency and dialogue than any other female characters at the time. But they were being played by men, not women. So
lest we forget.
Yeah. Some of the other adaptations of this over the years, the 1948 musical Kiss Me, Kate. The 1967 film that has the same name, Taming of the Shrew, with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, who were like famous stars of the time who were married in real life and had like a famous tumultuous relationship in real life. And they like capture that energy on film. I've seen a couple scenes from it. It's not bad. And the 2003 Gabrielle Union movie, Deliver Us from Eva.
No kidding.
What a full circle.
Her and LL Cool J.
In two adaptations of Taming of the Shrew on film.
This movie really does not do right by Gabrielle Union, I've got to say.
No. It gives her like one line and she's like, I'm with Joey now. Like, that's it. Like, there's nothing. And she, as a 28-year-old, with all those high schoolers, was probably like, get me out of here. Get me off of this set.
Yeah, she's clearly such a star, and she has truly no lines.
Nothing.
And then she's mean at the end for no reason.
Yeah, they just threw that in there.
I think we should watch Deliver Us from Eva. That looks quality.
I need to look this up.
There's a great weird bit in the play. I'm just thinking about the play now. In like all of the things he's doing to confuse her, to like keep her on her toes, basically. This section of the play is very long, and in the movie it's pretty much just sort of the scene where she tries to kiss him while they're drunk, and then he's like, no. And then she's like confused about that. But that's like an act in the play. And there's this whole weird bit where he is ordering her clothes too small from the tailor, and then they get to the tailor and the clothes don't fit, and she's mad, and then he like beats up the tailor in front of her, and he's like, "Don't worry about that guy, baby. This will never happen again." And like walks away.
My God.
That part, I do love that part. That it is bizarre and cruel, but also kind of awesome.
He like shows up late to their wedding wearing just his underwear. It's like all of this weird stuff.
I've never read it, so I'm gonna have to give it a read.
The other big change the movie makes, which I think is a smart change, is that the Michael character, Cameron's friend, in the play is also in love with Bianca.
Oh.
And like hires his friend because the friend can like tutor her and get him an in, and then they're like both competing for her love, and she of course chooses the Cameron character. But this movie gives Michael a different love interest in
Right.
the random girl who's in love with William Shakespeare.
The random girl from Club Skunk.
Did y'all watch to the end of the credits?
I did. I've seen through it.
Wait, what?
Have you seen the outtakes at the end of the credits, Lauren?
I don't think so. I don't remember him.
You would remember them.
What is it?
Just a bunch of sex jokes, basically.
No.
It's just basically that everyone at this school was horned up as much as possible all the time.
Right. Well, clearly.
Yeah, but they just make the
water.
subtextual textual in the post credit sequences.
I mean, I went to high school too, but like something was in the water in Seattle.
There also is a really, I mean, it is this thing. It's a horny outtake, but it's kind of sweet with Julia and Heath, where like they're doing the dramatic car scene, and then like one of them gets silly, and then they just like start making out, which doesn't happen in this scene,
Right.
and like pretend to jump into the back seat with each other.
Like I said, palpable.
Right.
Truly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's run through the rest of these segments, and then we'll get to our MVP. For cultural context in this movie, I've got two things. The first one is the Riot Girl movement of the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
And all the music of this movie, the posters that Kat has on her wall. Anyone know anything about the Riot Girls?
I did the bare minimum amount of research on this, so forgive me. They're basically a feminist punk wave born out of the Pacific Northwest, Pacific Olympia, Washington, which is right south of Seattle.
Oh, okay.
That was talking about like feeling really excluded, like as women feeling really excluded from the punk scenes at that time because it was very like excessively violent at shows, like physically violent, and they felt like they couldn't or didn't want to hang with big punk guys who were thrashing around in the pit, but they did want to like have punk be part of their lifestyle.
Yeah.
It had a lot to do with like the DIY thing, had a lot to do with like creating zines, and a lot to do with like meeting groups for like collective action, that sort of stuff. Also, they were highly criticized in the media for not like really caring to learn their instruments to standard like pop tastes, and like which is like kind of when Heath Ledger makes the comment about like a bunch of girls who can't play their instruments is like what he's like parroting a mainstream media belief of that time. And I feel like this movie kind of like has some of that spirit in it, especially Club Skunk, and especially just like the whole vibe that Kat has embraced after dealing with Joey in her freshman year.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense why that would be like her vibe after going through all that. Also, I don't remember, does it ever get mentioned like where their mom is? Is she alive?
I think Bianca at one point says after mom left.
Yeah, it just gives me like divorced parent energy, their like sibling relationship in general. And that also I think could have clearly impacted, well, both of them, but impacted Kat in that like whatever pivotal changes she was going through, and like so that totally makes sense with the Riot Girl aspect of it as well.
The dad sucks too. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good performance, but he's not being a good father to these girls.
No, he's not. Oh, man.
Along with that, the other thing I want to talk about in cultural context was just like the way this movie is like openly having its characters talk about sex, which I think is kind of radical for the time in like high school movies. And maybe because of this movie, we get it a lot more now.
Yeah.
But it's also like not often played for laughs, or not predominantly played for laughs in this movie. And it's not like grotesque.
Yeah,
No,
it's
yeah.
not a sex comedy.
It's sometimes frank, and like straightforward, and sometimes a little crude, but it's not ever like gross out.
Yeah, it definitely feels like this movie almost like it was working to normalize high school conversations around sex because, you know, obviously everyone knows high schoolers have sex. So, like, why wouldn't that be casually talked about and brought up, and like the frustrations with that and the pressure with that? So, yeah, I think it did a really good job of like, it felt genuine and like, and it's especially now learning how young these people actually were. Just again, going back to that, I'm like, I just have so much more respect for these like kids that were doing this.
Totally. Cool. Well, I've got a little bit of behind the scenes stuff here, specifically about Karen McCullough and Kirsten Smith, the writers, since we're starting this series about them. Karen McCullough was an Army brat. She grew up all over the world, graduated college in 1988 with a marketing degree, worked in marketing for a long time, eventually couldn't find another marketing job and started writing screenplays. Meanwhile, Kirsten Smith grew up in Los Angeles, writing poetry and living on a houseboat, never watching TV. Emmett, thought you'd like that.
Yeah.
She graduates college in 92 with an English degree. While she's in college, she has this internship. She's reading scripts at Cinetel Films, which is a production company. And she stays there. She works her way up. In 1995, she becomes like the director of development, the person who's basically like picking what films they are producing. And through this job, she reads a script submission that she really likes from Karen McCullough. She contacts her and says like, hey, I read your script. I really like it. They talk over the phone for a long time. Karen flies out to LA and they get margaritas together when they meet for the first time, which I love. And they hit it off, and they wrote a script together, which was a female-led action comedy. Didn't sell, but that was their first thing. And they had such a good time doing it that they wanted to write a second script. And right at the time, Clueless had came out in 1995, which I now feel like I should have watched after learning this. But they were inspired by it, and that's directed and written by Amy Heckerling, who is adapting Jane Austen's Emma and setting it in a modern high school setting. And they were basically like, we should do that.
Right.
And like deciding what to do it about. And they chose The Taming of the Shrew. They took the title from Karen's high school diary, which was called 10 Things I Hate About Anthony. Anthony was her boyfriend at the time. And they took the title and like actual fragments of things she wrote while she was in high school and made it like dialogue in the film.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's so awesome.
So that's like her big angle on it. And Kirsten did like a lot of women's study and like female poetry in college. So she's bringing like the feminist angle and the Riot Girl stuff. And then they sold the script in 1997. It says their process is that they write the first draft together. Then they each write a rewrite of it. Then they edit each other's rewrite. And then they like come back and combine them again.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, here's an incredible bit of connection to a past series we've done, Emmett.
Okay.
In the script that Karen and Kristen wrote, the song that Patrick sings to her in the incredible marching band scene is I Think I Love You by the Partridge Family. Later that year, Scream 2 comes out and has a scene where the jock boyfriend sings to Neve Campbell that exact same song in the cafeteria. And they were like, oh, well, we can't use that song anymore. apparently they asked Julia Stiles what song she would want someone to sing to her, and she said "Can't Take My Eyes Off of You" by Frankie Valli.
That is truly wild. And it came out the same year, and that's like Scream 2 is the reason why they couldn't use that song.
Well, Scream 2 came out the same year they wrote it, which was 97.
Damn.
But I think she made the right choice.
Yeah, and I think that Heath Ledger is about 1,000,000 times more charming than that schmuck in Scream 2 is. So.
He's so incredibly charming during that scene. I mean, really during the whole thing, but that is sort of like the big set piece of the movie.
Yeah.
This is the thing about follow-ups. Both of this was news to me. Maybe you guys have heard of some of this. In 2009, ABC Family produced one season of a 10 Things I Hate About You TV show.
Unbelievable.
Which was directed by the same guy, had the same composer for the music, and has the dad returning to play his character again, but all of the other characters are recast. And it's like telling the story over 20 episodes of a sitcom instead of
weird.
an hour and a half. Anyone seen that?
Not me.
Then in 2012, the director began working on a sequel called 11 Things I Hate About You, which was going to be like a spiritual sequel about two new high schoolers, Evan Rachel Wood and Thomas McDonnell, who are like both trying to kill themselves and then meet and fall in love and like give each other a reason to live.
Interesting.
And this was like full on in production, and then like the producers backed out and it fell apart.
That's probably for the best, it seems.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a great premise.
I'd say so. Okay, time for one of our favorite parts of the show, MVP. The MVP of this movie, other than the protagonist. So I would say let's take off Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger. But everyone else is on the table. Out of everyone else, Lauren, who's your MVP?
Honestly, I had a real soft spot for Joseph Gordon-Levitt here in this movie. The innocence and the eyes, he was just perfect for the part, and it was just so good. So that's my MVP.
Emmett, MVP?
This is such a difficult one.
I have a feeling you're about to take mine.
No, I think for me, it's Bogey Lowenstein. Ah! Is that yours?
He was going to be my one scene MVP.
He is, but he's in multiple scenes and he's incredible in all of them.
Oh,
when he's there teaching them how to golf at the beginning, it's like perfect setup. I love the Bogey Lowenstein revenge tragedy arc that Michael has with him about how he kicked him out of the club, and then like the great revenge is like throwing the party at his house and completely trashing it.
oh my God.
It's so perfect.
The shot of Michael throwing all of the invitations out,
Yep.
falling in slow-mo while Sexy Boy is playing, is pure cinema.
Oh wait, this movie has a soundtrack and that soundtrack slaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yes.
does.
MVP
It has
soundtrack.
Letters to Cleo playing on the roof of the high school for no reason for the end credits. And it rocks.
On the only sunny day in Seattle.
Right. The day when they shot this entire movie.
They're like, we got one day every 5 years.
I love when Bogey says, "That must be Nigel with the brie."
Like, how did he not see all of the flyers cascading down
Say free beer.
the whole school that looked exactly like the invitations he had privately made for his friends? What the hell, Bogey?
Oh my god.
Wait, who's your MVP?
Well, that is a great pick. I do love Bogey. Yeah. No, I'm not even going to get into shout-outs because we've talked about everyone being great. My favorite is Michael. David Grumholtz as Michael. He's so good. He's so funny. He is like the perfect counterbalance to Joseph Gordon-Levitt in their little friendship.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just really shines in that part. I love the moment where he's trying to explain to Heath Ledger that she likes pretty boys. And he's like, I'm not pretty. And Michael's like, he's a pretty man. He's a very pretty man.
I have to give a special shout out to Allison Janney as the guidance counselor.
Oh my god.
So funny.
That's something that I think wouldn't be in the movie today, although I love it. But her pulsating fan fiction,
God,
you maybe want to get away
it's
with today.
so good.
It is so good.
Like, I can picture the guidance counselors at my high school doing something like that.
Well, let's give our final thoughts, and then we'll play a little quiz here at the end. Final thoughts, anything that we want to say about 10 Things I Hate About You that we haven't covered yet. Lauren?
I think that if you haven't seen it, you are doing yourself a great disservice. It is joyful, it is funny, and it is warm and fuzzy, and it will bring a smile to your face. I'm so happy I got to rewatch it and talk about it today.
Emma?
Like Clueless, like Mean Girls, it's one of those movies that you just watch and it makes you happy. It will make you laugh every time. Guaranteed. And Heath Ledger, dreamiest of all time in this movie. Also, go watch A Knight's Tale if you haven't. It's worth it. It's worth getting past the premise. Wait, any final thoughts on this?
What's the premise of A Knight's Tale? Just
it's about knights and jousting, and there's lots of rock and roll.
That's all it is.
Get to that, and you will have a great time.
Yeah, I think we've covered most of it. We haven't talked about the beer flavored nipples, but
oh, I love that line.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much all of my final thoughts. But it rocks, and it holds up. And if you haven't seen it, like, go watch it, because I think their chemistry is incredible. I think it's just something that you can't really fake.
Yeah.
Like, the best actors in the world could create, a very realistic, loving relationship, but they couldn't bring that energy that these two have in this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is awesome. Let's bring it on home here with Bum's the Word, our quiz. This is going to be about 1999, which has recently been called the best film year ever. There is a huge modern appreciation for 1999 that I'm sure has nothing to do with the fact that all the people writing about movies now were kids in 1999.
Yeah, that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
But it is true that a huge amount of films that are, recognized as being good were released in 1999. I've got a long list of them here, but today we're going to guess the 10 highest grossing films across the world of 1999. It's a pretty good list. I would bet that you guys have heard of all of these movies, if not seen most of them. So let's dive into it. I'm going to give you hints, and you guys, you know what? You guys can, you're playing together. It's not a competition.
Okay.
Cool. You're playing together because we're trying to guess all 10.
Okay.
Film number 10, the 10th highest grossing film of 1999, is a sequel in a parody series.
Is it The Naked Gun 3?
No. This is very 90s character and actor. It's like a comedic parody of a very famous long-running film series.
Oh, is this Austin Powers something?
It is an Austin Powers movie.
Okay, so Goldmember is the third one.
This is the second one.
The Spy Who Shagged Me?
That's right.
Ah, yes.
Well done.
Have you ever seen any of those Austin Powers movies?
I have seen all three. I think they're incredible.
I remember watching just one of them when I was 15 and being so offended as to never want to watch any of them.
Oh my God. I think I just grew up watching them and my whole family thought they were hilarious. And so now there's just I watch them and I feel sentimental over Austin Powers.
When I was in middle school, everyone told me my haircut looked like Austin Powers and made fun of me. So I never wanted to watch them.
Oh my gosh. You got to give them a chance. You don't look like Austin Powers.
Film number 9. This is a drama. It's got a very problematic star and a very problematic premise, which is that it's kind of like a dark drama about a...
So it's American Beauty starring Kevin Spacey.
Yes! Wow.
God.
That was incredible.
That was so fast.
And I will not explain what American Beauty is about. Film number 8 is an entry in that long-running series that Austin Powers is making fun of.
It's not James Bond, is it?
It's James Bond. This is a James Bond movie. This is the 19th James Bond movie. It is the 3rd starring Pierce Brosnan.
I did not know there were 19 or more than 19.
There are more than 19 now.
Goldeneye?
Nope.
The Golden Gun.
No.
The Spy Who Shagged Me.
The Man with the Golden Eyeball.
Hard to describe the title. The title is like a saying, and it's kind of about wanting more.
Never too much is enough.
You're kind of in the ballpark.
Never too much is enough.
It's some dumbass name like that.
You're thinking of the right thing.
Never say never again.
No, that is another James Bond movie.
Is it really?
That's the one where Connery comes back like in the 80s.
Oh,
He's like
okay.
way too old.
Wow.
Okay, you got the not enough part right.
Not enough.
So what is not enough?
Once is not enough, or twice is not enough.
No.
Almost.
It's a thing. It's a thing that is not enough. Like a physical...
The world is not enough.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm sorry.
Film number 7 is another famous rom-com. This is a famous British rom-com starring the famous British rom-com leading man.
Hugh Grant?
Mm-hmm. My Uncle Tim loves this movie. That's the best hint I have.
Oh, God.
Starring Hugh Grant and another Julia. Different Julia.
Julia
Roberts?
Roberts?
Yes.
What were they in together?
Devil is...
The title is A Place. It's kind of a bad title. I think she is famous. Yes, she is a famous American actress. He is an unfamous British bookshop owner. They hit it off, and he has to adjust to life in the spotlight and figure out if they can make it work.
Notting Hill?
Yes!
Oh my gosh.
Now, where did I pull that from?
The final 6 are easier. All of those included the hard ones, of which I thought Notting Hill was probably the hardest. Movie number 6 is an adventure film, kind of in the vein of Indiana Jones, but it's about 2 adventurers, a 90s young, hot action star who has the curtains haircut and is bringing that to the world, and a young British female leading woman, and they're going on an adventure to fight a historical bad guy.
I don't know if I'm just bad at riddles or what. But
He said he's got the curtains haircut. And what?
she's
Okay.
British.
This is a leading man who's like in a bunch of stuff in the 90s and 2000s. This is his flagship series.
Is it Zorro?
No. This is a guy who like then has a lot of health problems and basically falls out of the public eye. So he's like only in movies until like 2008. And then he's like just sort of come back and he looks like dramatically different now. He was like the young hottie of the 90s. And he's funny.
I've got nothing.
This is a famous Universal monster.
Oh, is it The Mummy?
It's The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser.
Ooh.
Did Brendan Fraser have a bunch of health problems?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
He did, yeah.
Poor guy.
My stepmom almost went on a date with Brendan Fraser, but she was too afraid to sneak out of the house to go meet him. It was before he was like famous.
Now we're in the top 5. Number 5 is an animated musical. It is the last film in the Disney Renaissance. It is adapted from a classic book.
Beauty and the Beast?
Nope. This is one of the ones that has a male protagonist. It's not a princess in it.
Hunchback?
Is this Hunchback?
No.
Hercules?
Nope.
I'm just gonna...
It's the other one. It's the other one. Those are all there. This is like a classic sort of character that it's about. There are a bunch of other movies about him, and it's from a book from the 1800s, I think.
Aladdin?
Mm-mm. Both humans and animals are characters in this. Main characters.
Oh, Tarzan. Oh, the hardest one to get. Oh, it was Tarzan sneaking in at the end there of the Disney Renaissance. Nobody really wants to claim it. Everybody would rather that it had been some embarrassment from DreamWorks, but they have to actually know that was Disney.
Yes, correct. Good job. I was about to say Phil Collins, so you got it with dignity before I had to go there. Film number 4 is a science fiction film coming out here at the end of the 90s, but seems so quintessentially 90s. It's like the start of a series that has a new entry coming out this Christmas.
Matrix?
Yep.
Oh, smart.
Number 3, kind of surprising, but... This is a great movie. Not surprising because it's bad, but surprising that it's higher than all those other things. It's a sequel, and it's an animated film.
Toy Story 2.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, damn.
Yes.
Wow, oh my gosh, that was 90s.
Nice.
99. Okay, number 2 is a horror movie, and it's number 2 in the world. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
It is from, like, a writer, director who everyone has an opinion on. And this is his breakout.
Is this Reservoir Dogs?
Nope. You've got, in this movie, you've got an action star who's the leading man, and he's with a little kid. A young boy.
Sixth
The
Sense?
Sixth Sense.
Hell yeah.
That's a good-ass movie. I don't know if I consider it horror, though. I think that's what was tripping me up.
I remember watching it on ABC Family as a kid.
So that's
Yeah.
not horror, then.
Truly frightened. But I was watching the TV edit, so...
God, I can't wait until ABC Family is playing the TV edit of Hereditary. It's 2 minutes long.
Okay, we've almost made it. The final movie, the highest grossing movie of 1999, is a prequel.
I'll take Galactic Empire for $500. Is that Star Wars The Phantom Menace?
It is Star Wars
Oh.
Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the highest grossing movie of 1999. Well
Wow.
done.
Also,
Both.
the best movie of 1999. That's how it works. And honestly, maybe the best movie ever made. It's Star Wars.
I don't care what
Phantom
anyone
Menace, best
says.
movie ever
Hayden
made.
Christensen deserves an Oscar.
Yeah, especially for his work in that film that he was not in.
Yeah. I knew that. I was joking.
Well, look, those 10 films, all from 1999, also came out in 1999. Fight Club, Magnolia, Office Space, Eyes Wide Shut, The Blair Witch Project,
Damn.
The Virgin Suicides, The Iron Giant, American Pie, Being John Malkovich, The Green Mile, Any Given Sunday, Run Lola Run, Cruel Intentions, Boys Don't Cry, and, of course, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Damn.
Wow.
Wow, an iconic year for film.
Best film year ever, maybe.
Other than 1931, baby.
Lauren, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's been a joy.
Is there anything you want to plug? Anywhere that people can find you online?
Yeah, sure. Follow my Insta, everybody, at Lauren Renner. That's all I got.
And we will be back in 36 weeks talking about Jordan Peele's Nope. And next week, talking about Legally Blonde.
Woohoo!
All right.
Wow, Lauren, anything that you think I should know watching Legally Blonde for the first time this week?
Oh my goodness. Really just like have an open mind. Open your mind and your heart. Yeah, and enjoy like a fun little fruity cocktail while you watch it. That'll help. That's my advice.
Emma, anything to say about Legally Blonde?
Yes, while watching Legally Blonde, please don't think about Scream 2 at all.
Okay.
Because it might scare you. It's another movie that takes place on a college campus. And you know.
Okay.
All right, well, stay frosted, everybody. Much love.
Yeah, happy 1 year.
Happy anniversary.
Cinema Bums is a production of DKG Podcast. It is created and produced by Emma Temple and me, Wade Lawrence Holloman. I also edit and mix the podcast. Our theme music is by Zane Holloman, who you can find on Bandcamp, and our show art is by Autumn Beckner. Our social media is managed by Laura Bennett. If you like what you hear, please tell all your friends and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, the 2 best ways to spread the word about our work. You can also follow us on Instagram at CinemaBums or email us at cinemabumspod@gmail.com. Don't flake on us. We'll be back next week